Well, a very good day to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Candy Talk here on Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. My name is Evan Sokinyi. It is always my pleasure to have you on board on Kenya's most comprehensive political and public governance analysis show. Definitely, I'm talking about the Candy Talk. My good name is Evans Okinyi, and I'm joined here by Professor Herman Manyora. Prof, how are you?
I'm good.
Good morning.
Morning, sure.
Seems you are agile and
Very agile. Not seems, I am agile.
very agile.
Very.
Very patriotic Kenyan.
Absolutely.
Normally you see yourself as the most patriotic of all Kenyans here.
Yeah, I think.
I want us to have this conversation on what is actually happening here. Recently, we saw a report by the Auditor General, definitely. And of course, the one by the Controller of Budget as well. And all indications tell us here that contrary to the PFM Act of 2012, a number of our governors have decided to spend close to zero on development. Actually, if you look at the past 3 months in relation to this, and of course, Nairobi City County being one of those counties that actually spent 0% of their total expenditure on development. What does this tell you? Because at the end of the day, we do expect that devolution should be functioning, and that in as far as development is concerned, people do expect that the counties should be working properly. What do you think we are getting wrong here, and how best can we actually correct it so that we see how to move forward as a country?
I think we are getting almost everything wrong. First of all, the governors have never set out to develop their counties. Whatever a governor does is want to make as much money as they can when they are governors, and this is obvious. Along the way, they also overemploy people. If they are doing their first term, they are looking at a second term, and therefore you create popularity through overemployment, through reward system, and so on and so forth. But be that as it may, we also have, even with that being the case, we also have to look at what government is doing. Before you blame governors for not spending on expenditure, you must find out how does government disperse the money. Have you given the money in time and in accepted amounts before you criticize them? Let government release funds to the counties in time. Let there be a year when the money is released in time. Then let's blame the governors. But first of all, release the money. They agreed money. There's an amount of money through revenue sharing. If it is 385 billion or 400 billion, let counties be given. Counties cannot live from hand to mouth.
Step into Brooklyn Boutique in Juja today at JB Stores, first floor in Juja. Discover the latest women's fashion in jewelry, clothes, shoes, bags, and purses. Call us today at 0721 348 629. Brooklyn Boutique, where style meets elegance.
You don't give money, then you give it the last moment. And there are constraints of the law. You see, there are certain processes that must be followed. And here you are, even if you say you have given all the money, at what time did you give the money? Did they have the time to spend it? What impact does that have? So let the government give money to counties. At least, if they can't do once, let them do it at least in 2 tranches.
But Prof, I do believe that in terms of disbursement of the funds from the National Treasury to the county governments, definitely the exchequer is one, yeah?
Yes.
For all the counties.
Yes.
How comes there are counties that actually spend on development while others spend nothing on so?
That's what I'm saying.
Talk about the time of
that's what I'm saying. You can't absolve the governors completely. That's where I started. That most of the governors, their eyes on what to make. How much money will I make? Which contracts do I give and who do I give? What's my cut? That's what they do.
Okay.
But there are those who, even though they do that, or maybe they don't do that, are focused on developing their counties. They will find a way. Even when there are challenges, they will find a way of dealing with the challenges. Yeah. I know I've been to the county. I've been a member of what they call CBF, County Budget and Economic Forum, which is a body created to help counties figure out, brainstorm on how to develop. And I know there are really challenges of disbursement.
Which specific county?
That was Vihiga County.
Oh, okay.
2017, 2022. I was a member of CBF. And I know there are challenges. Money is not there. Money comes, you want to spend, you must do through IFMIS. And everybody is logging inside. It is jammed. So there are challenges. Those challenges, I'm saying, ought to be removed. So that now we look at governors squarely when they have no excuses.
Okay.
And they have no reason not to deliver. They have no excuses. But there are governors, like you are saying, and I want to come there, who have no intention of spending anything on development. They are supposed to spend a minimum of 30%.
Even 35.
35% or 30%.
Yes.
There are few hardly get there. Few get there. So let's give them money. But let's say the money is locked. You can't access it. It can only come if it's going to a development. Let's have a way of doing it so that money is wired to a program, a development program, not to you to spend, so that money is not in the same pot. We first address the issue of disbursement of funds.
Okay.
Then we ensure governors follow the law. And we make sure, like I'm saying, we don't put all the money in one pot. No. Let money be wired according to where it's supposed to go. If it's money for development, the governor cannot access it to buy fuel or put on another through environment on any other project. No. If it's money for roads, it goes just to roads. Yeah. And you can't change it. That's where we need to go.
Okay.
Yeah. And governors must begin to work with line ministries. Yeah.
Prof, eyebrows have also been raised regarding the number of bank accounts that our counties actually do have. And these people are saying these accounts are too much. They make the work kind of difficult. You cannot even trace how some of these monies are actually spent. And we're actually wondering, are they necessary? Is it the right way for the governors to actually go in terms of ensuring that public...
That's the role of Senate.
The right way.
The role of Senate, oversight of the funds they allocate to counties. Senators are sleeping, or they are scheming to become governors, or they are getting bribes from governors.
Okay.
That's the work of Senate. That's the work of the county assemblies. That's the work of the Auditor General. That's the work of the control of budget. There are institutions charged with the responsibility. The control of budget must ensure that counties have accounts or an account that is genuine, one or two. And you can't go beyond that. And even signatories, money should not be removed, because this is our money. This doesn't belong to a county. It's not very easy to get money from government at the national level. It's very easy to get money from the county level. So we must put in place measures to ensure money is not just there for anybody to play around with, not even the governor. We can even have officers from the national government. This may be seen as interference, but we'll find a way of playing with the law, working on the law, to ensure that governors don't have sole authority on our resources. There must be a way. There must be a way. There must be a way, and a way has to be found. There must be officers. We can create a national trust, and officers from the trust should oversee how counties, for example, are spending money. There will be nothing wrong with us insisting on one account only. Yeah, I mean, we can't give governors access to our money like that. These are taxes from Kenyans who are suffering. But before we blame governors, let's work on disbursement. Let governors be given their money at the beginning of the year. Immediately after the budget is passed, let resources be raised. Give governors to deal with their resources for the whole year. At the very worst, 2 disbursements in a year. One end of July, or end of June, by end of June, just before the beginning of the financial year in July, Another one maybe around February or so. Another tranche, half. But this idea is they are waiting for, this is when? December. Wanangoja pesa ya October or November. No. Surely you can't work. You can't blame governors. No, you can't. They use that as an excuse now to squander our money. Some of them are even borrowing commercial loans, overdrafts. Governors are taking overdrafts. You can hear governor is very good. He pays his salaries in time, but those are overdrafts. And overdrafts are very expensive. Yeah.
But now we were asking, Prof, because it seems like our counties here, we've seen actually now that the health sector is actually devolved. We've seen healthcare workers on strike on a weekly, if not on an hebdomadal basis here in this country. We've also seen them having problems with pending bills. And all this, right now, it's about zero development. So are our counties really helping us?
You know, we didn't start well. When we started, we didn't have sufficient structures in place. And we have not followed up by having enabling legislation and the right structures in place. And even where there are laws and structures, we have not found a way of ensuring the governors do the right thing. Even where governors have violated the law, where governors have plundered their counties, we have done nothing. What we needed to have done, and I'm sorry to say this, but we needed to have done is to jail some governors. The excesses of the first-term governors should have led to a situation where about 10 of them would have ended in jail. Then the rest would not be playing with money. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's how serious people behave.
So once we see a few of them jailed...
Yes,
then...
10 governors should have been jailed. The first-term governors. The second term, many of them would have feared, but they could have jailed another 3 or 4. And now governors will be working well. But if you don't jail anybody, including the obvious thieves, what are we talking about as a country?
I want us to understand, just make us understand also the role of the Senate in the spectacular failures of the county governments that we are actually witnessing right now, because it seems like somebody is sleeping on their job up there on that particular...
I've said senators should provide oversight.
Yes.
It's written there in law. But what senators do, they are either eyeing the governor's seat, they want to be governors, and therefore they are doing everything in the possible, even to destabilize governors. Instead of oversighting, they are destabilizing them because they want their jobs. Or they are making all manner of compromises in pursuit of being governors. Or they are seeking bribes from governors.
Okay.
But they are not doing their work. Senate isn't doing its work. In fact, if you ask me, Senate should be abolished. It's doing nothing. There's absolutely nothing our Senate is doing. It should be abolished.
What normally happens?
It's a strain on the taxpayer for nothing. Yeah. What is Senate doing?
Kenyans are actually wondering what normally happens.
I've not seen any senator saying, I'm Senator of Vihiga. I'm interested in knowing how many bank accounts Vihiga County has. Why are they 7? I'm working with the Office of the Control of Budgets to find out, blah, blah, blah. Or I've been with the Control of Budget. I've been in relevant offices, and I am now asking the county government of Vihiga, or Marsabit for that matter, whatever it is, I'm asking them to close all bank accounts and remain with one.
So you've not seen that work so far?
I have not seen a senator doing something on the ground to indicate he's aware of what the county is doing. So, the extent to which Senate is offering oversight is doubtful. It's not even there.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's not there. The MCAs do not know their work is to offer oversight to the governor. Their work is to make sure governors do what they're supposed to do. What do the MCAs do? They just want money from the county. They want all manner of trips.
And if not given...
all manner of travel.
And if that is not...
They want money for construction of roads, where they are the contractors. That's what they want. They don't know their role is to oversight, to ensure the governor is not stepping out of what is required of him by the law. That there is physical discipline, the management of county resources. MCS are not doing that. Every MCA wants to buy a small car. So unless we take care of those things, the counties will just be there. They will be of no value to the country.
And of course, what you say, talking about on the demands of the MCS to the governors, once the governors fail to yield to this particular
They want
demands,
to impeach them.
and they want to impeach them, of course, there is no...
Yes.
But then a question is also bound on, you see, in as much as you're saying here that our senators have failed us, but there are few of them who've always been seen as very vocal, people who maybe appear to be standing for the truth. But the moment that they also go down there and vie for these gubernatorial positions and actually successfully get them, then we see different faces altogether.
They were not criticizing governors because they wanted the governors to do well. The criticism was intended to make them become governors.
Okay.
And even those vocal ones like Sifuna, who are top on the list of criticizing and oversighting, they do it as a form of lamentation. So capable senators like Sifuna must go beyond lamentation.
Like
They must go beyond pointing at things. By now, they ought to have created laws in Senate to make oversight meaningful. But this idea of summoning governors, then you have a chat with them. A chat. Then they go away. It's just an opportunity for governors to be asked to grease the hands of the senators. But nothing comes out of those things. You need to have a structured way of holding a governor to account. So Senate by now would have created the structures necessary for oversight. So when you invite a governor, it's not just an exchange. No. It must lead to somebody going to jail or self-impeaching. If I'm in Senate, my friend, governors will have to do the right thing.
So how,
even as an individual,
how do you expect senators to make these laws, yet they
don't want to tie because they will want to end up there.
They will want to end up there, and of course
that's where the danger. By the way, yeah, you are right. They cannot make things tight where they are going.
What was happening at the beginning of the devolved government back then, I saw some sort of a rush. All the prominent people here were running for the Senate position. Yes,
people didn't know. You know, many people thought Senate was higher than governor. But in the hierarchy of things, and I have senators who are friends, if you look at hierarchy, there's a order of something, yeah? The president, up, deputy president, down, governor, national MP, member of National Assembly, senator, then MCA.
Okay.
The senator and the MCA are actually competing for the last position in the order of importance in this country. By the way, Senate can go home and only come to discuss revenue sharing and wait for a president to be impeached or a governor. Actually, it should be a part-time meeting. If you look at the Constitution never gave any role to the Senate, apart from those three. Nothing. They are trying to squeeze themselves into the House. All the functions are given to the National Assembly. And somebody goes to Supreme Court for advisory. Then you hear the Supreme Court. You are the Supreme Court. This is just English. There is nowhere the Senate is mentioned in the functions of the... They are not there. They are trying to squeeze themselves in. So people got to realize later that Senate was nothing. It was just glorified. Senate is not an upper house. Where there are senates are upper houses. Ours is not an upper house. Ours is just there. And the reason is not difficult. The constitution that came from Bomas, the draft, was bastardized. First in Kilifi. Then it was rejected in 2005 in a referendum. Then it was the process started again. We got a good draft. It went to Naivasha. It was again bastardized. So what the product of that bastardization of the constitution is what we have. Because initially, we needed regions, not these many counties. And the regions were going to be powerful. The Senate was going to be an upper house. But once you dismantle the whole arrangement of regions and created this useless counties. There are too many to have any viability. And then the Senate then collapsed, but we maintained it there. So Senate is just there. It's just there. We should remove it. It's just a waste of taxpayers' money. We should just remove it. We should just remove it. We can create an ad hoc arrangement of men and women, eminent, prominent men and women, who would be sitting if there's an impeachment of a governor or a president. Ad hoc, on a need-to basis. But to maintain a Senate on salaries and perks and everything, and yet they are supposed to meet only once during the distribution of revenue, which thing is a mechanical thing. They don't even participate. It's mechanical. When they are arguing with the national government through the National Assembly, they are arguing over 20 billion. So do you see any role of Senate? The money that has been, the distribution comes from the CRA. It's called what? Revenue sharing, whatever they are called. CRA, whatever they are called. They come with a formula and the amounts of money. Government tinkers a bit with it because of budgetary constraints and so on. So they say 400 billion. Senate is trying to argue it should be 410, 420. It's nonsense. So they have no role. The only role that Senate would play is if a governor is being impeached. And we can have an ad hoc committee to do that. Okay. And if there comes a time you are impeaching Gachagua or a Gachagua, then you can have another ad hoc committee or whatever you would call it to look at, to conduct the trial of the impeachment from the National Assembly. But you cannot maintain a body with colossal amounts of money in a poor country and they have no role.
No kind words to the Senate. That is Professor Herman Manyora. Ladies and gentlemen, you can tune in and, of course, weigh in on this conversation. Tell us what you think. Till we have this conversation again, have yourself a lovely day. And thank you for watching and for being part of this family. My name is Evans Okini.